on June 6, 1944. A cold wind moves across the French fields east of Ouistreham, carrying with it the distant thunder of ships firing offshore. High above the darkness, aircraft engines drone like a moving storm front. And then, suddenly, silence. The first wave of British paratroopers leaps into the void. One moment they are inside the vibrating fuselage of their Albemarles. The next, they are alone in the freezing night. Below them stretches a patchwork of fields, orchards, ditches, marshland, and scattered farmhouses. Not a single landmark resembles the carefully drawn maps back in England. Every man checks his static line, counts, braces, then the brutal shock of the parachute opening jerks them upright. Many see nothing but darkness. Others glimpse muzzle flashes along the coast. Some land in trees, some in flooded ditches. Several drown before they can cut themselves free. This is not how it was supposed to begin. By early 1944, Germany had been pushed to the limits of its endurance. The Eastern Front consumed divisions by the month. Allied bombing crippled supply routes. Fuel shortages grounded entire Luftwaffe wings. Yet the Wehrmacht remained lethal, especially when defending French coastal fortifications designed to obliterate an invasion before it could take root. D-Day would succeed only if key strong points inland were neutralized before dawn. East of Sword Beach stood one such threat, the Merville Battery, a fortified German gun position believed to house weapons capable of shelling the landing forces and killing thousands. If these guns survived the night, the eastern flank of D-Day could collapse before it began. The task of destroying them fell to Lieutenant Colonel Terence Otway and the 900-strong 9th Parachute Battalion. Their plan was precise: land with full strength, assemble quickly, breach the barbed wire and minefields, storm the battery in coordinated waves, disable the guns, and hold the position until relief. But the night had other plans. Paratroopers drift across miles. Some are blown toward the Orne River. Others land near German outposts. Otway himself lands far off target, slogging through marshland before regrouping. Officers gather whoever they can find. Runners are sent to search for missing companies. Radio operators fight to raise contact, but interference and German jamming leave the battalion half-blind. By the time Otway reaches the rally point, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. He has 150 men out of 900. The battalion's heavy weapons? Gone. Mortars? Missing. Bangalore torpedoes? Scattered across Normandy. Medical supplies? Minimal. Engineers? Only a handful. Yet the guns at Merville will begin firing at first light. The men look to their commander. Otway's jaw tightens. He knows that turning back means Sword Beach dies. So he gives the only order possible under the circumstances. We go, even if it's with bare hands. The men fix bayonets. Ammunition is redistributed. Wounded who can walk, walk. Those who cannot are left with quiet apologies and promises to return. And then, under the fading rumble of offshore bombardment, the reduced battalion begins to move toward the enemy strongpoint. Merville sits on a slight rise, surrounded by open fields that force attackers into the line of fire. Thick belts of barbed wire encircle the entire complex. Beyond the wire lies a maze of trenches, bunkers, machine gun nests, and 4 massive casemates housing the guns. The Germans are experienced, alert, and well-positioned. They do not know the exact moment of attack, but they know something is coming. As the British advance, tracer fire slices across the sky, red arcs glinting through the darkness. German artillery farther inland trades shots with Allied cruisers. Every explosion briefly lights the terrain in stark white flashes. The paratroopers duck, move, freeze, crawl, advance, always aware they are exposed. A runner arrives breathless.
The mortar tubes from the drop, they're missing. We can't locate them.
In.
Blast it!
But still,
Never
no
mind,
heavy
we
gear.
push on.
Otway nods sharply. We start without it. They reach the outer wire. It is thicker, higher, and more complex than intelligence reports predicted. Without Bangalores, the men use whatever tools they have, wire cutters, bare hands, even rifle butts, to pry gaps open. German searchlights sweep the fields. The men freeze each time the beams graze the grass. A machine gun opens fire. Bullets snap overhead like tearing cloth. The paratroopers flatten into the ground. Another burst, then another. The attack is now inevitable. Through the wire, Otway commands. Men drag themselves forward, weaving through gaps, cursing at snagged equipment, feeling for mines in the dirt. A corporal whispers, Left foot, right foot, slowly, and inches forward until he hears the distinctive click of a tripwire. He freezes. A comrade crawls around him, disarms the device with trembling hands. Inside the wire now, ahead lies the inner perimeter. More trenches, more wire, more danger. Otway signals the small engineer team. A single Bangalore torpedo, recovered by miracle from a marsh, arrives, carried by 2 exhausted soldiers. It is not enough, but it will have to do. The fuse is lit. Sparks dance. Everyone ducks. The explosion blows a narrow gap through the inner belt. Earth showers down on their helmets. Dust clouds the night air. Otway doesn't wait. Forward, go! Paratroopers surge through the breach. German machine guns erupt from concealed positions. Muzzle flashes bloom like white-hot blossoms. A gunner in a trench fires wildly as shadows appear before him, until a British grenade arcs in and silences him in an echoing blast. Another team advances toward casemate 1. Bullets chew through the ground at their feet. A man stumbles and falls. 2 more drag him behind a crater, returning fire blindly. Keep moving, an officer shouts.
The men! Keep low!
Get to the
Push
walls.
Forward!
The British reach the casemate entrances. Grenades clatter into the dark openings. One explodes, sending smoke and debris bursting outward. Paratroopers rush inside. A short, brutal fight follows. Close range, claustrophobic, deafening. When the shooting stops, the first German gun is silent. Casemate 2 proves harder. Its defenders are alert, firing through murder holes and narrow slits. A Bren gunner lays down, suppressing fire, while 2 men press themselves against the concrete wall. One hoists the other upward, who drops a grenade through the firing slit. The explosion rattles the structure. The door blows open. British troops pour in. Casemates 3 and 4 erupt with fire. Tracers whip across the courtyard. Otway orders smoke grenades thrown. White plumes billow outward, obscuring visibility on both sides. Men sprint through the haze, silhouettes moving in chaos. Shots ring out. Screams cut through the smoke. Inside casemate 3, a German crew fights viciously. One pulls the lanyard to fire the gun. It jams. Before he can correct the misfire, British troops overwhelm the position. Casemate 4 is the most heavily defended. Its garrison throws grenades down the entrance tunnel. The first explodes, then a second. British attackers dive for cover. Otway himself crawls forward, shouting for a flanking movement. A small team circles to the rear of the casemate, finds a ventilation opening, and drops in grenades. The explosions rock the position. The defenders break. Suddenly, silence. The guns of Merville, which could have slaughtered the men on Sword Beach, are dead. The smell of explosives hangs in the cool morning air. Smoke drifts slowly across the shattered courtyard. Men cough, stagger, regroup. Some sit down heavily, staring at the concrete blocks they risked everything to reach. For a moment, the world feels impossibly still. Otway checks his watch. It is only minutes before 0600 hours. He sends a runner, signal success. But success has come at a cost. Nearly half of the assault force is dead or wounded. Many will not live to see the beach they saved. As dawn breaks, German reinforcements begin to stir in nearby villages. Trucks rumble, orders echo, a flare streaks upward. But the paratroopers are already withdrawing to secondary defensive positions, preparing for counterattacks. Otway divides his remaining men into delaying groups, knowing they cannot hold the battery indefinitely. The first German push comes cautiously. A patrol edges toward the ruins. They find bodies, broken concrete, destroyed equipment, and no working guns. Shock ripples through their ranks. The critical position designed to halt the invasion has already fallen. Otway's men, concealed behind hedgerows deeper inland, hear German voices but hold fire. They have completed their mission. A new one now begins: survival. Hours later, elements of the British commandos advancing from Sword Beach finally link with the scattered airborne troops. Exhausted, dirty, bleeding, they greet each other with grim smiles. The paratroopers simply point back toward the smoking battery. "It's done," one of them says. "The guns won't fire." What they do not yet know is that their action has changed the fate of D-Day's eastern flank. The absence of fire from the Merville Battery allows assault units on Sword to advance more rapidly. Engineers clear the beach with fewer casualties. Tanks push inland sooner than expected. German forces, deprived of heavy support, failed to coordinate an early decisive counterattack. In the broader campaign, the airhead east of the Orne holds firm. Bridges remain secure. Supply routes open faster.
Right,
the eastern perimeter of the Allied lodgment stabilizes days earlier than planners feared. And although the battle for Caen will grind on for weeks, the survival of the initial beachhead owes much to the sacrifice of a few hundred paratroopers in the early hours of June 6th. By nightfall, the battlefield lies quiet again. Smoke settles into the craters. The concrete casemates stand scarred and silent, never firing a single round against the invasion they were built to stop. And somewhere among the survivors, Otway writes a brief line in his report. Objective taken, guns destroyed, mission accomplished. Behind those words lie fear, chaos, courage, loss, and one of the most daring small unit assaults of D-Day.